Alrighty, I'm here. Hooray! It worked. It worked. Everyone could see now. Awesome. Legendary. Let's see if it's live on the YouTubes. Can everyone see me? Let's see. Can everyone see? There we go. Okay, it's just live now, Mr. Richard Balducci. We're here. Sorry, everybody. As usual, me trying to get used to everything. I haven't done this in forever. I'm going to read the chat, Mr. Balducci. Let's have a look. Yes, we have success. We have success. Everybody, this is JC Kay. Gosh, look at me getting old. I now have to use glasses. So I've got contact lenses in. Couldn't see the screen even with my new contacts. So I need my reading glasses for the screen. I am getting officially old. We now have Mr. Everybody drum roll. Everybody, we have Mr. Balducci in the house. Yay!
Hello, hello.
Jump up and say hi.
Hello.
All right, everybody.
My jumping days are about over.
It's great to see you all. I'm so glad that we're here live on, it's an early Sunday morning for me, which is pretty crazy. I can't believe I woke up so early. And for Richard, it's afternoon there in Missouri.
Heading towards Saturday Nitro.
Heading towards Saturday night. And for the UK people and Europeans, it's nighttime there already. So it's so good to see you all. If you've got any questions for Mr. Richard Balducci, please, put them in capital letters in the chat. If you do want to pop on, I will more than likely send a Zoom link out. So let's see. I might, there's a delay on YouTube. So I'm sitting here talking, just watching the chat. Mr. Richard Balducci cannot see the chat, but we thought a year ago, probably more than a year ago, you asked me, let's do a live on Halloween. And I said, no dice. And then we ended up recording over 3-hour video, which is now on my Patreon. And I couldn't put it on YouTube because all this stuff happened. And it took me something like 10 months to get the video out for some reason. There was all these things. We have your Esoteric card ebook that I've put together, but I haven't put that link up for everybody to get access to. There's a lot of work in that. So we're gonna put that up for I'm just looking at the chat because there's some really good questions there. So yeah, I'm going to put the link up. We've also got Richard Balducci. He's got a Buy Me a Coffee site. So if you would like to donate to Richard, that'll be great. It'll be great for him. I'd really love to do that for him, just to thank him for all the work that he does. So thanks to everyone there. And Richie Rich, what do you got to say for yourself, my friend? It's the 2nd of November, 3rd of November here, 2nd of November. You got your election coming up. There's a lot of shenanigans at play.
We have our selection coming up again. And I remember the last time we talked about Trump, and I said it was going to be his greatest comeback ever. And I'm still waiting for it. To be honest with you, this is a gut feeling. It's not based on occultology or anything, but I'm just getting the gut feeling that there's not going to be an election. And in fact, look at this old piece of paper I found. I went to the archives.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if you can see it. It's pretty yellow. I'll have to read it for you.
Show the thing again.
This is so old, it's like turning into parchment. Basically, what it says is by federal law, and there's an asterisk with that because that's a whole thing, because federation is the United Nations, okay? So this goes by treaties. But according to them, elections undecided by midnight are void and preempted by federal law. CF Foster versus Love, 1997, 9-0 Supreme Court decision. Foster versus Love, 522 U.S. 67, 1997 in parentheses.
Wow.
So as you may recall, during the 2020 election, President Trump was ahead, and then 5 states, all at the same time, suspended the voting results. And it's like, say what? So if they try that again,
yeah,
I hope everybody knows that means, hey, if Pennsylvania doesn't have their results by midnight, Pennsylvania's out. You know,
wow.
Get some lawyers on this.
So how
I get
can
hyped up.
Yeah, but they're not going to. Yeah, but they'll do anything underhanded, won't they? Right?
Oh,
so
yeah,
Richard,
totally.
Richard is a snappy dresser. I love that. If anyone wants to jump on, I will put the Zoom link in the chat and you can jump on to have a chat, but you got to mute your YouTube because it's a delay, and then you're going to have to make sure you have either a camera, but at least your audio working for you to jump on. Okay. Richard, you've got all these little bits of information about the law governing the US and things like that. Do you think Mr. T is going to be the head of the corporation during after this next election? Will appear to be.
Well, that's the $64 million question. Because there's no way they can let Trump win certain groups. They know their life is over. They'll be going to Gitmo. They're already going to Gitmo. It depends on who you believe.
I think that's a word that we're not allowed to use.
Oh.
I got kicked off. Yeah, I got booted off Facebook for saying that word back in 2020. So yeah.
Well, I'll say it like this.
Cut, so
Gitmo traders. Gitmo traders and take them to where, that little Gilligan's Island. So here's the thing. President Trump was born June 14th, 1946. And when he was being born, he was born during the penumbral phase of a blood moon lunar eclipse.
Okay.
Which is a big deal. Now, if he had been born during totality of a blood moon lunar eclipse or slightly after the blood moon lunar eclipse, he would be one of the great villains in history, and they would love him. They'd be like, hey, you're our guy. So the fact that he was born during the penumbral is when the shadow of the earth starts to cover the moon before it turns blood red. That's pharaohs and kings and people like that are selected. And by the way, astrology, President Trump's ascendant is at 29 degrees Leo, so it's conjunct the royal star Regulus, the heart of the lion in Leo. And that's interesting because we'll come back to that in a minute.
All righty. So everybody, I just want to reintroduce Richard Balducci if you don't already know. Back in 2020, one of my first big videos I did, it was around end of October 2020. You and I met. I had already seen you a couple of years before on Sage of Quay radio. Well, I didn't see you, just heard your voice, I think, about the Beatles, Paul is dead theory. And I loved your research because you were talking about the Vatican, et cetera, et cetera. Now, fast forward, I inadvertently begin a YouTube channel and I talk about the Vatican, and there is Richard Balducci's comment on my YouTube channel. And I was like, oh my God, I love you. Like, you're one of my, favorite researchers. And I kept asking Mike Williams to have you back on because I absolutely loved your research. And then we became friends. And then I said, let's do a video together. And then we did. And so that is available on Vimeo. I think somebody also copied it over to some other channel. I think that's the original video you and I did. Where my audio was terrible, but you were great. And then we kept in touch, and then we never got to get back on, and I never got to. And then yet again, another video of yours, the last one we did was about 3 hours long, so full of information. If you want to see that, please go to my Patreon. I think free members, I'm not sure if free members can look or whatever or watch it, but anyway, I'll do something with it and put some of it on YouTube. But amazing information in that video. So I said, let's just do a live. This is probably your first time on YouTube with me, other than when you said happy birthday to me.
Yeah, that was the only live. And I did a live, I think, with Dr. Fetzer and this other guy. What was his name? I can't remember his name intentionally. But he did the great Paul McCartney debate. And so this guy was Robert Livingstone, I think was his name. I thought he might see the light because Dr. Fetzer just laid out all this stuff, and then I did, but the guy stuck to it. No, it's a different guy, and his big thing was camera angles. If you take the camera and do it here, your nose looks bigger here. And he was just so dedicated to the lie. Yeah. I mean, it was clear to me he was an LMF. But
so the theory is that Paul McCartney was replaced. This is something that we were talking about. Forensics say that that's definite. Different ear shape and all that sort of stuff. There's so much evidence to say that. There is a question in the chat, and that was from my dear friend Antonia. She says, Richard, who is Taylor Swift? Now, I know you in your Esoteric card images. I'll see if I can get that up and I'll show them.
She actually appeared on a couple back to back, I think.
Yeah. You want to talk about what your theory is around that? And I'd like to ask... I want to get one of these. There's this pastor who allegedly, prayed Anton LaVey to. I don't know. There's a whole thing. He had Anton LaVey's daughter. Trying to help her. No, it wasn't Zena. It was this other daughter, or is a daughter of his daughter. I'm not sure. Anyway, get away from Anton LaVey's coven, and this famous. Californian pastor, of a minister of the church, him and his family, I think they got rid of Anton LaVey. So it was anyway, long story, but I wanted to interview him. Can't remember the guy's name, but I'd love to ask him because since he knows Anton LaVey's daughter, whether or not there's a connection to Taylor Swift.
Well, first of all, TS, I'm going to say this very delicately so you don't get bounced to a different planet. TS, first of all, is a male. Okay.
No, I don't believe.
Look at the hips. Look at the hips.
No, I don't. She's just a tall, skinny girl. I don't believe it. There's so much. I don't believe it. Yeah,
but that's why she's always posing with her hands on her hips to kind of hide. See, I've got.
She had a baby,
hips.
Right?
What's that?
She had a baby, right?
Well, if you believe that, a lot of she's, do the little poochie thing, go through the act.
Yeah.
Michelle Obama, Big Mike is one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, the thing is, Taylor Swift is just doing flat out satanic rituals and calling them concerts. It's just
absolutely.
What was the question about her?
Who is she really?
I don't know. I'd like to find out, but it's like number 247 on the list of things to investigate. So I only got 86,400 seconds a day, but I'm doing my best. Yeah, the Taylor Swift story is quite remarkable, but But then, look, she could be Anton LaVey's daughter, or
granddaughter.
I lost my train of thought.
I think you mean granddaughter, Zena's daughter.
Yeah.
Zena
So it's
LaVey's
very
daughter.
complicated.
It is. I just don't think that what's out there, the information that's out there on Wikipedia about his family,
Oh, right.
a lot of these
I
is
think
true.
she was placed, and like with Zena or Taylor Swift, we have a Satanist, daughter, granddaughter, whatever, and then the fake Paul McCartney is the son of another Satanist.
I just want to show everyone your. Yeah, that's right. Let's pause on that. Whoops, we're showing some yucky images.
So Satanism really is a career booster, apparently.
So Richard, I'm going to just show everybody the Esoteric card book. I mean, this has got something like 72 different in the first. This is 1 and 2. These are the amazing images that we've got in Richard's Esoteric card, all that information on each of these as he decodes everything. Now, because everybody knows that I'm a new Christian, a born again Christian, a lot of people say, well, why, JC, are you getting involved in the occult? Somebody said that to me. I thought you don't do that stuff. You're a Christian. I still understand that this realm is it's a fallen realm, and there's these people play by their own rules, and to expose them is they use these tools. They use these tools to operate this reality. They use astrology. They use these things that Richard is decoding and uncovering. And if you want this book, please hit me up. I think it's a good idea. Well, I got to zoom past that one. There's some autopsy photos here in this book, so I got to kind of zoom past them so that YouTube doesn't have a hissy fit. We've got a lot of stuff here. See, we've got some stuff about Trump. You can go if you want this book. We will have a link. It'll be a link to the product here, because we're not going to do it via like an ebook type thing. There's Paul McCartney. And if you want to donate to Richard to get this, you can. It's a fascinating read, all of this information, if you were interested in that. You've got so many filthy photographs in here. So look, you can see how long this is, but there we go. There's Xena. There is Taylor Swift.
Right.
So it says here, when Taylor Swift won Best Female Video at the September 13th, 2009 Music Awards, MTV Music Awards, and Kanye West ran on stage and stole her microphone, saying that Beyonce deserved this award. The dragon's head, the north crossing of the sun and the moon, was exactly conjunct Lilith at 28 degrees in Capricorn, while Pluto was at the apex of the solar cross at 0 degrees in Capricorn, the celestial position of the sun during the winter solstice. When Taylor Swift set a record, so there's Capricorn seems to be a big part of this. And then here we have, this is Zena LaVey. This is not a picture of Taylor, but it sure does look like her, doesn't it?
She's rather fetching.
I don't know about now. Did you know that she's I'm not sure if she's born again, but she's completely disconnected from satanic stuff.
Wow, she'd be a good guest for you if you could get her. Last I heard, she had left the Aleister Crowley, and she was doing more of the Egyptian sacred ceremonial magic to set.
All the same, Yeah, it's all the same shit. In a way, it's all Lucifer. So Xena is let's see. Well, possibly anyway, this book goes on. She's possibly left them. Apparently they had started just after this guy's death back in 97, I think. Was it 97? I can't remember the year. But apparently when he passed away, maybe it was later than that, probably later than that. Yeah, they tried to start up some. Oh, they had some other cult. It was like a werewolf cult or something. I don't know. They're into a lot of the weird stuff, so something that I'm not into. Okay, so that's the esoteric card book. Let's have a look at the chat. I haven't looked for quite a while. Let me have a look. What if anyone's asking any questions?
We got to get back to Trump soon, though, because I got some mind blowing stuff.
What you got?
Well, go through your questions, first, and
Well, let's have a look. I'm just going to say, because there's a lot of private, conversations going on. Christians know the spiritual realm is real. Liz Buchanan says, I'm born again Christian, very aware of the spiritual warfare. It's very real. Absolutely, it is. It's all very real. Please keep your conversations respectful in the chat. If there's someone who, if anyone out there wants to join or ask any questions, please do put them in capital letters. If I can't see your question, it's because you haven't put it in capital letters. So great to see you, everybody. The Reality by J. Rocco. Hey, how you going? All right, get onto it, Richard. Get going. Tell me, what else have you got to say?
Okay, well, I've got the whole key to the first Trump assassination attempt, the first public one, on July 13th, this year, 2024. So keep in mind that Trump was born during a blood moon lunar eclipse. Okay, the head of the U.S. Secret Service, when Trump was almost shot to death, was Kimberly Cheadle. And do you know where Kimberly Cheadle worked right before she became the head of the U.S. Secret Service?
No.
She worked. Can you see that?
Yep, sure can.
She looked for Pepsi.
Yeah.
And the thing about Pepsi, upside down, it spells out is dead.
Oh,
okay?
No. What a crazy reality we live in. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Like just these little things, that's like the world is conspiring to all of these fascinating
Oh, well,
events.
there are occult signatures all over the July 13th.
Yeah.
Now, here's the big one. I'll give you the big one first, so I don't have to wade through some stuff. Kimberly Cheadle became the head of the U.S. Secret Service on U.S. Constitution Day, September 17th, 2022, which means that on the day President Trump was almost assassinated, July 13th, 2024, that just happened to be Kimberly Cheadle's 666th day as the head of the U.S. Secret Service.
Oh, how do you find out these things? That is just...
It's just doing the measuring. That's really, it's like working a homicide case. You just go to the details, and there's more occult signatures than that. You're going to love it. You're going to love this.
Show
All
us,
right.
man.
Let me get some visuals for you here.
While you get those visuals up, I just want to say that, I'll leave this as a question for later, but I truly believe, like, people think that when we're talking about these occult signatures, we are agreeing with what's going on. That we're agreeing with this stuff that we shouldn't be dabbling in, stuff that I've stepped away from. Okay, so I've stepped away from divination, etc. But I want everybody to understand that even from the perspective of Judeo-Christian outlook, we are told, and that's why I believe the Bible, because it's all there. We're dealing with fallen angels. We're dealing with a fallen realm. We're dealing with the adversary, who is Satan. Because what happened when the first human beings stepped away from God and said, we're going with this guy, or we believe this guy, we can be like gods. and they fell from paradise. The entire realm, God took a step back and said, okay, free will, you want free will, I'll allow you to believe what you wish to believe. And in God stepping back a little bit, because everything is held together by our creator, you know, we're alive because of him. The whole reality is held together just very gently. But he took a step back and allowed the humans, his creation, to choose what they wish to choose. And as a result, this realm, this reality sort of stepped down in its frequency in a way. Okay. And as a result, it became, and the Bible says this, the world of Satan. So this is Satan's world. Now, this kind of uprising of them and the veil lifting, and we're seeing that they're in control, and it's not the world we thought it was. It always was like this. But there's no doubt in my mind that everything that they do, the rituals, have to run to this kind of occult signature that you're finding out, right?
Right. It's their algorithm, you know. It's very important for ritual magic. Timing is everything. Okay. Now, speaking of timing is everything, sometimes addresses are everything too. You all recall Aleister Crowley's 777? Okay, that's high ritual magic. Here's another
it's
version.
It's the signature of the magician, right? The 777 is the signature of the magician.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. A jackpot on the slot machines is 777, if you can see that. Okay. So keeping all that in mind, the Aleister Crowley high ritual magic, death sacrifice magic 777, and that a jackpot is 777. Guess where the competing rally by Dr. Jill Biden, there was a competing rally going on in Pennsylvania at the same time Trump almost got dead. She spoke for 5 minutes before less than 300 people, and a lot of Secret Service were sent to the Dr. Jill Biden rally needlessly to weaken the U.S. Secret Service. I hope you're listening, U.S. Secret Service. Guess where Dr. Jill Biden was when Trump almost got killed?
No way, man.
777 Casino Drive.
Pittsburgh.
So obviously the Bidens thought that their jackpot was coming in that day.
Yeah.
And it turned out a little bit different.
You know, they're advised by a lot in the shadows. I mean, you've got the people at the front, but in the shadows, these people are advised by high witches, high warlocks. It's pretty fascinating. And when we think about what is operating these entities, and this is why I stepped away from divination and all of that, because the spirits you're speaking to are not benevolent. They're just not. Okay. They're not. These are entities going to disguise themselves as various different beings. There's so many levels to this. So these people who appear as normal politicians are very much into rituals, and they will participate in these rituals on a regular basis to gain power, to gain authority, money, those sorts of things, because what they're dealing with and who they're worshiping are actually originally the fallen angels who were or are the principalities that rule this earth. So their signature kind of thing, their key to unlocking that dark realm in order to operate in this reality and gain power in this reality is to do the rituals and sacrifices that they do. And what Richard's doing is it's decoding that, right?
Right. And here's another big occult signature associated with the July 13th, 2024 Trump assassination attempt. Now, remember, Donald Trump was born during the penumbral phase of a blood moon lunar eclipse. I keep going back to that because they tried to time Donald Trump's death to a particular star. Do you recall that one of President Trump's nicknames that the media has given to him is Orange Man? And they'll say, Orange Man bad, okay?
Yeah.
Well, during the Trump assassination attempt on July 13th, 2024, the sun was exactly conjunct the orange star Pollux. Pollux is one of the Gemini twins. So they tried to assassinate Orange Man bad, timed to the sun conjunct the orange star. While Dr. Jill Biden's at 777 Casino Drive, waiting for that big one to hit, and it didn't. And Kimberly Cheadle is now, I haven't seen her in a while, because she went to a little place. And you might recall during the Republican convention, she was paraded Masonically in a guilt and shame ritual through everybody at the Republican convention. Because you're like, why would she go there? She had to go there because that was part of her humiliation. And she failed, and she didn't kill Donald Trump. And it was supposed to be satanic, and she screwed up the satanic plans, or, you know, God intervened, or whatever you want to say. So they humiliated her with a bunch of people hollering at her and ridiculing. It was almost Jesus-like, carrying a cross. If she had a cross, it would have been really appropriate. But we haven't seen her in a while because she went to a special place where really bad Satanists go when they're in government. So
Where is that?
I can't wait for that to be revealed. If it ever is.
Where's that?
I can't say it or we'll get bounced. We'll get bounced to, you know, 3 planets over. I know, it's like we got to talk in code, you know, because these evil Satanists are controlling everything, the media and all that. So
hey everyone, hit us up with, we got the super chats there, and we also got, so if you really want your, I'm missing a lot of these questions. So
now one more thing, please, before we get off the Trump assassination. Donald Trump was surrounded by many Satanists when they tried to kill him. When he was being taken to the black sedan, someone was doing the devil horns, cursing him. And
wow, and they're disguised with a little MAGA hat too.
yeah. At the moment Trump raised his fist in the lion's claw, Regulus, the Satanist at the same time was trying to curse him. Wow. At the same exact time. That's right when he stood in front of the car and he raised his fists, you know.
So these people are just, it's fascinating to me just how scared they are of him. And yet we're having a lot of people say that he's still on the bad team, and he's, you know, they're all the same and they're all evil, etc. One thing I'm not sure that everybody understands this. They might say, well, then that's because your God's the fake God. But the Bible does say that God actually allows the people in power to be the people in power. So it's still allowed, you know what I mean? So even if somebody's messed up, they're in power because they're allowed to be in power because of our creator. And there's a reason for that. There's a bigger reason for that. So in this particular case, we know that Mr. T, very, very overtly, they said it on mainstream television, unbelievable, that in the last election, you know, he was, when he first got elected in 2016, that, you know, that there were covens of witches all over the world cursing him and continuing to do so. And people are openly saying this on TikTok and whatever now, that this is, let's do this. And then we've got these non-witch people agreeing with them and saying, yeah, let's, go for it. Yeah, let's get rid of Trump, Um, I'm just fascinated at how quickly this world has become very dark, very quickly.
Oh, they're letting it all hang out now. It seems
Yeah.
like the dark figure that the world has dreaded for centuries is getting very close. Did I tell you the mass, by the way, of the star Pollux, the orange star Pollux?
No, the orange man. Go tell us.
It's
What's the
twice the
mass?
mass of our sun. Our sun's mass equals 333,000 Earth masses. The mass of Pollux is 666,000 Earth masses. So,
Wow.
ta-da!
Look, there was some great. Thanks, Dragonfly. Have you got a question for us? Please let us know. Should just hit us up with a super chat, please. That'd be great. Curses do not work. Somebody said. Victoria Gray says, with decoding, where are we in Revelation time, pre or post Great Tribulation? Are you aware of? You're probably not aware of this stuff, Richard. That's something I wanted to bring up to you, and I really want to bring a guest on so that we could talk about this, because as I was studying this, I started to realize, oh my gosh, if Richard Balducci could understand that this is possible, that this theory might be possible, everything would make sense as to why these numbers are 666, 333, etc. So here's the theory. Can I just say it to you? And I think it answers everything. It answers Tartaria, it answers mud floods, it answers everything you can think of, because everybody's asking the question, why? Why are they doing this? Why do they hate us so much? Why do they hate Jesus? Why do they hate this world? Why do they want to do what they're doing? Why are they hiding information from us? Why are they hiding history? Why are they faking things? Why? Because this is a theory. Not many Christians are into this, but a lot of people starting to understand it. So back in, say, the time of Jesus, there was in the Bible, if you look at it very closely, he was saying to his disciples that he would be back very soon. Now, a lot of naysayers say in this day and age, well, where's your Messiah? He hasn't come back. The theory is that the reason why they're covering up a lot of history, and there's all that missing time during the Dark Ages, is that Jesus did come back. But so what the Bible tells us is that when he comes back to have his millennial reign on earth with his saints, that Satan would be bound up for 1,000 years and there would be peace on earth for a period of time. Now, let's not forget, humans still have free will. And during that time of his reign, there would be some prosperity and peace, etc. These beautiful buildings would be built, majestic, beautiful kingdom on earth. And then he will be let loose. Satan will be let loose after that time. So there's a theory that the tribulation, etc., explained in Revelations of the apocalypse and all the destruction, etc., has already happened way back, possibly during the Dark Ages. And this end of the millennial reign happens at the end of those Dark Ages, or some are saying that possibly around that time of the Enlightenment period, around the Renaissance period, is when Jesus left and he was no longer reigning on earth and Satan was loosed. And this is why they call it the Enlightenment period. There are so many people saying that historical stuff doesn't make sense, that there's things that are hidden, that the timing doesn't make sense. Why are we being lied to? Suddenly we have this big boom in science, and you're telling me that we're to believe that the mass of the sun is 666 or whatever it is.
It's 333,000.
333,000.
Our sun.
Okay, so
but the sacred star
was revealed.
Go ahead, Dal.
All of that science was revealed around the time of the Enlightenment period. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, What if they rewrote history? What if Jesus already came? There is no tribulation coming. There is no revelation. They're just using the playbook. They're just using because they've covered it all up. And they're just using it again to make us believe it's the end times and they're the mark of the beast and all that. But that's already happened way back. And we're the aftermath now. We're in the days of, we're waiting now for the new earth. And this is where this new age stuff comes in, right? We're actually waiting for the new earth for when the judgment occurs. Okay. So there's a theory of that. There is some pockets of Christianity that believe that, but most of the churches are pushing, he's coming soon, he's coming soon. I'm kind of tending to believe that he already came and fulfilled his promises to his disciples, and that we're now witnessing the cover-up of all of that with the beautiful buildings. Just look at the architecture of the 1300s, of all of these incredible cathedrals, etc., that these could have been built in a time of great prosperity and beauty. And then when Satan is loosed again and people pick their team, and then suddenly these secret societies arise and they say, our Dark Lord is back. Voldemort is back.
Yeah.
And then they go, we're going to have our time again. Let's use this. And everybody is it only takes a couple of generations to wipe out memories of things. Okay. So to wipe out memories. Right. And then there is also the theory that all those little Cabbage Patch Kids, the story of the trains, the orphan trains, etc. These kids suddenly appearing, all of these children with no parents. Where are all the parents? That maybe they were, disappeared in the Great Tribulation, that perhaps that somehow, God allowed these new children to be born. I mean, I don't know. And it could explain the whole reincarnation. That's not actually reincarnation, that maybe we have memories of these old lives from our old bodies and that we were resurrected. I don't know.
Cellular memory. Yeah.
Cellular memory. I mean, I don't know.
But we're supposed to be wiped clean when we come down here. Yeah. So that we, our past hang-ups.
Yeah, but I don't believe in that anymore, right? I actually think it's an overlay. I actually think that whole reincarnation thing is an overlay. The way I received all of my reincarnation stories is the same way that I received all of that false information from these entities. It's the same way that they communicate false, abductions and all the other false memories that they put in your head when you're in altered states of consciousness. I just think that they really do operate in the ethers, in this other realm that is overlaid over this reality, and that the signature to get to God is through Jesus. And that's what Jesus was trying to say to us. You want to get out of this simulation? I am the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody comes to the Father, the one who created us, except through me. That's what I think the theory is. And I think that this simulation is operating in that framework that you're talking about, that you're decoding. This is a new theory, so I just wanted to put it out there and had to explain it. It takes a while. Sorry, Richard, I'll let you talk.
No, I love a great mind, at work. So yeah, are you done? I'm fascinated. Tell me more. I want to know everything. Well,
yeah, I'm
some
done.
People, they always complain. They throw it in religious people's faces. Why does God allow all this evil going on? We can see it. Why didn't he do something? Well, I thought about that for a long, long time. Why wouldn't he? Well, there's the free will aspect, obviously, but God is still creating. Babies are being born. Life is renewing itself. God's busy. Why do we expect him to peek in on us and make sure we're behaving? He knows everything anyway. So it's an amazing journey. But I actually do remember a couple of past lives that I've had. I had one. Did I ever tell you any of those? I'll just tell you the brief parts.
Before you want to tell us that, and then what I want you to do, somebody asked, please ask Richard to say what he was going to say about the sun and the other sun. I don't remember you saying that. I do remember you talking about the planet that was the Orange Man one. But were you going to say something
Yeah.
about another sun?
The other star, well, the star that the sun was conjunct on July 4th, 1776, is the ancient Egyptian sacred star Sept, as in September 11th. The Greeks worshipped it as Sothis, and we worship it as Sirius A. And the thing about that is the mass of the sacred star, the sacred birth star, guiding star of the United States, France, Great Britain, any flag with a red, white, and blue in it, because it's the only red, white, and blue star that we know of. The mass is 666,000 Earth masses, the same as Pollux, where they tried to eliminate President Trump on that. It's the hottest, brightest star in the night sky. The ancient Egyptians based their whole calendar around the star because they noticed a couple of weeks after its heliacal rising, it disappears for 70 days. When the sun gets too close to it in the sky, because of the glare of our sun, you can't see the sacred star for 70 days. And that's why Egyptian kings and pharaohs were mummified over an exact 70-day period. And it timed with the heliacal rising of the red, white, and blue star in the east just before sunrise. When it reappears after being invisible, it's red. And it's only red because our sun is getting ready for sunrise. So our sun's rays make the sacred star appear to be red when it reappears. It's normally a blue-white star all the other times, but on the day it reappears, it's red. And with the mass, you know, the mass may not even be 666,000. That could be something they just made up, you know, but that's what the physicists and the astronomers say. They're pretty adamant about it. So, you know, they're the experts. I'm not. I just weave it all together.
You're amazing, Richard. I'm just going to have a
no,
look.
it's I'm not amazing. I'm boring. You know, I'm a genius on certain topics, but on other topics, I'm a complete dumbass. Okay, I admit it. But we all are. We all have our little specialties or something we're really good at. You know,
I can't pitch a baseball to save a life. Seriously. I'm totally
well, then you should play for the St. Louis Cardinals. We're having a tough time right now. We're getting rid of all of our so-called overpaid stars this winter. A lot of them are going.
I want to have a look and see if there's any other questions. The issue is that any questions being asked, nobody's putting them in capital letters, and the ones that are in capital letters I've already answered. I'm going to have to skim through this. Somebody said Richard is the cutest.
Ah, get out of here. Go on, tell another one.
Oh, there's a great one.
Tell her I love her, whoever said that.
Okay. Victoria says, is Trump a time traveler? Richard's not a psychic, so, but have you got any information about, other than the ones we already know from, you know, truther stuff? Do you really believe that there is a time traveling element to this, or is this just a story that's been woven, a myth that's been woven in to make him appear mystical?
I do not know, but I will say this: all is vibration, and if the vibrations of the past can be matched, perhaps you can go back in time. Perhaps you can go. That would be a very closely guarded secret that we may never know in our lifetimes, anyway. I hope it is true, but it is possible to time travel psychically in our minds. You know, remote viewing or whatever, dream state. We can access that, but you know, that's a hairy path too.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is we live to just, by the time we figure out what the heck's going on, we croak, you know, just when we get the hang of it all and how to navigate everything and watch out for the evil this and the evil that, we kick it. And, you know, now they're making people into diamonds, these evil people. You know that, right?
Yeah, the carbon thing. Really? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I've heard of using ashes.
Yeah, I've got it written down. I don't know exactly where, but there's a certain amount of the ashes when it's compressed, which are bones, by the way, and we are carbon-based life forms. So they're actually forming little diamonds out of it and selling it. And a diamond is forever. You know, they love
Amazing.
to say that.
Yeah. God's daughter says, Richard, do you know how long it will take for us to see changes globally once Donald Trump gets back in? Again, Richard's not a psychic. He's just decoding the information that there is. But is there look, I'm going to ask this. How about I rephrase what she said in a different way? The last election that some say was stolen, was there anything looking back, occult signature wise, that indicated that that would happen?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
I love whoever asked that.
Well, I asked that, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. I already love you, so it's just more love.
The question was that how long will it take to see changes globally once Donald gets back in? But I'm trying to say, well, we didn't know, because I know you hoped that he would get in last time, but there must be something that you saw that could indicate that that wasn't to be.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's in God's hands right now, honestly, because
Okay. Well, this kind of just says it all. Dominion voting systems. That's the electronic machines that love to flip Biden votes from Trump votes. You know, they never make a mistake the other way. It's always in favor of the evil ones. Well, Dominion Voting Systems Corporation, they filed for the patent on these voting machines, which can be hacked, and they're not supposed to be hooked up to the internet, but of course they are. Mm-hmm. It was the execution date for the patent for the voting machines. Dominion Voting Systems Corporation was executed on September 25th, 2019. And on that day, Saturn, the black sun, the black cube, the black hexagon, was at 13 degrees Capricorn, exactly opposite the sacred star Sepsothus Sirius A, the United States birth star, at 13 degrees Cancer then. It's now at 14 degrees Cancer. But so they've got the black sun opposite the natal sun conjunct the sacred star of the United States on July 4th, 1776. The whole thing is set up for fraud. And you'll find this stuff all the time.
it's interesting that your voting system is very different than Australia. And I think that it's geared for fraud. Just like you said, I was listening to a podcast about this, about how there's actually no machines, and there's a whole thing at play here. Even the mail-in ballots, etc., and the way they're counting votes is just a very different way than the rest of the world. And I know that in Australia we have a very different system. First of all, it's compulsory to vote, believe it or not, in Australia. People say, well, that goes against democracy, but I think there's a reason for it. I think it's pretty hard to fraud. I think it's easier to put a fraudulent vote in the US because there's something about that they weren't even asking for ID in some states. I can't even remember. There was something where they were saying it was not constitutional or something. Am I right? There was something along those lines.
That's what people are even saying to police officers when they get pulled over on the side of the road now. They're saying the police will ask to see your license, and you just say, oh, I can't show it to you today. I'm voting today. You know? You need a license or ID to do practically anything in the world except the most important thing, because they don't want it. Now, from the date that the patent was recorded on Dominion Voting Systems Corporation to the date that the Associated Press declared that Joe Biden won the 2020 U.S. presidential selection on November 7th, 2020, spans exactly 13 months and 13 days, including both dates. The initials of Dominion Voting Systems are DVS, devious. That's how devious would be written in Hebrew. They use very few vowels. Devious. Yeah. And one last thing on Dominion Voting Systems. The main corporation that rigged the 2020 election, you know where to find me if you want to sue me. Dominion in the witches' gematria adds up to the number 558, as does Saturn, as does the black cube, as does red shoes. You know how the Vatican loves those red shoes?
Yeah.
And we know what they're made of. If you don't know what it's made of, go look into it. You'll be horrified, or you should be horrified.
Yeah. There's a lot of shenanigans going on. Somebody asked a question. What is happening with the evil WEF? Is WEF trying to pass the pandemic treaty? Are they done with it, or do they have more control than we realize? Thanks. Again, Richard's no psychic. Do you have any information? We might have to rephrase these questions. Do you have any information regarding a pandemic treaty?
Oh, yeah, I got, well, okay, let's go back to Anton LaVey for a second to set this all up so you can see it with total clarity. The whole, the fake 2020 event. From the founding of the American Church of Satan by Anton LaVey on the Witches' Sabbath, Walpurgis Night, April 30th, 1966 in San Francisco, to March 11th, 3/11, 2020, that's the date that the World Health Organization declared COVID-1984 to be a worldwide pandemic. My point is, in between the founding of the American Church of Satan and COVID being declared the most amazing, horrible problem in the world, there were 666 full moons and 666 new moons. Again, the timing. These are long-range plans.
Incredible how they unravel these things. It's just, or how they plan them, as you say.
That's what they do. And you know what? We need to start with whoever wins the elections, the House, the Senate, the president, the vice president, everything. From now on, I demand that you clock in and out. When you're going into chambers to work for We the People, you clock in and out, and we want cameras on you with sound. We want to know what you're up to. What the hell are you all doing all day? Because I don't see anything getting better. I see it crashing and burning and being destroyed, and nobody cares. What do they do all day?
Was it getting better between 2016 and 2020? 2020. Was it getting better in the States back in 2016? Richard?
You know, that's so far ago, I don't even remember it after 2020.
I think everyone's got PTSD. Everyone's got PTSD.
Well,
they do say, I did hear somebody say that their intent that if Trump does get in, that they want to crash the economy, the other side.
Well, they're doing a great job of it. They're giving so much money supposedly to Ukraine.
Yeah. It's like children throwing their toys out of the, children throwing their toys out of the their playpen, getting really upset and trying to destroy everything as they go along. Did you see Trump on Joe Rogan? Did you watch that?
No, I didn't.
It was about nearly 3 hours long. I think that was a great move for him. Rhythmful. You spelled rhythm wrong. Rhythmful. Do you know much about QFS and digital?
I know of it.
Digital. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
how
know
about
of
you
it,
tell
but I
us?
don't know the details.
Yeah. By the way, does anyone want to come on and ask a question or talk or say anything? Do you have anything to say? If you do, please write in the chat that you'd like to come on. I will put up a Zoom link. It always gets tricky when there's a lot of people trying to come on, but we'll see if anyone wants to come on. Karen, we already know Richard does not believe in flat Earth. Richard, what's your theory on flat Earth? You see, if there's a flat Earth, I mean, there could be, but they're using all of their calculations, according to Richard, based on a globe and all of these metrics and these calculations that they've put out there on the mass of the sun and the mass of the earth and the et cetera, et cetera. So everything seems to work with that particular paradigm, okay, of a globe Earth.
Well, we're an imperfect sphere. And we talked about it on the 3-hour show. To recap quickly, people aren't computing all the factors that go into whether it's a flat Earth or a globe or a square or whatever it is, because they're not taking into factor the coldness of space. The coldness of space goes down, I think, to around minus 259 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that. So have you ever opened your freezer and you pull out some ice cubes and there's a bubble? There's an air bubble in the ice cube. That's what's going on. The heat of the Earth is pushing out in all directions of the sphere, but at the same time, the coldness of space is pushing down and in, keeping it all in place.
Yeah.
That is why we do not live on a flat Earth. It's impossible. The eclipses and all that would never work. And they've never come up with a real working
because I know
schematic of that.
You're friends with a lot of flat earthers. How do they go with your theories, with your suggestions? You got Patricia Steer, you got Mark Devlin.
Well, do you want me to answer that?
They don't
talk
right?
to me very much. Well, they don't talk to me. They'll Gmail back and forth, but you know, it's just my opinion, folks, based on my studies. It's impossible for the Earth to be flat, but if that's what you want to believe, go right ahead. Okay. I think your head might be flatter than the Earth, but you know, whatever.
Somebody asked in the chat if you have a book, and I was showing Richard's Esoteric card book. Yeah, Richard, why haven't you published this?
I have
you could
this
just do it on
book.
Amazon Books, yeah. Oh, can we still get it on Earth as it is in heaven?
It's out of print. And you know what? To be honest with you, I did a poor art director job on this book.
Oh, even can you show us again?
Yeah, this is the back cover. This is the
show us
the main cover. Well, I failed because it was my first book, and I did not realize it was too text heavy. It was like reading the Wall Street Journal before they, took photographs and drawings in. It was known as the Gray Lady. I made it too type heavy, and it was a slog for people to read. There are illustrations in it, but I should have had a lot more. And that's what's great about the Esoteric cards, because they are approximately 40 to 60% one way or the other, type versus images, I realized that's really the best form to get these occult signatures out.
Yeah. There's some of Richard's pages in the, look at that, 132 pages. I mean, this is long, you know. I put all your images up into Canva and sort of set it up. We've got a lot of amazing information here. And I had to blur this one out because this is the frazzle drip image. I'm sorry about that, Richard, but it was just too.
No, I'm not sorry at all. I understand why you did it. I don't like
Yeah.
censorship, obviously, but this isn't really censorship. It's the world we live in. And besides, it makes the cards themselves will have the full image, you know, if you buy the cards whenever they come out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Fauci.
Yeah. Show us. Tell us. Should I
Well,
read it out?
Fauci's father was so-called Mother Teresa. So
Is this
Fauci's,
legit?
yeah, he's all about fraud.
Yeah.
He learned it from his daddy. And, you know,
I've seen
Mother
like
Teresa,
images of people that kind of look like each other in these truther things. For example, Anthony Bourdain and Epstein. People saying that they're brothers. And it's just like, come on, man.
it did seem like Anthony Bourdain took the place of him when he was wheeled out on that gurney because the ears were different. So maybe they were related. I don't know. But Anthony Bourdain had supposedly died before that. Maybe that was another fake death. Remember, he was dating Asia Argento,
Yeah.
you know, a big
Massive
Satanist.
Big Satanist.
And her dad too.
Yeah, very bad.
Her dad directed the trilogy that's known collectively as the Mothers of Darkness.
My issue with a lot of, and this is just my personal opinion, my issue with a lot of people who, because, you know, being an atheist, being a agnostic, and not having faith is you're kind of at the mercy of what is going on in this world, and you therefore accept and adopt these satanic beliefs because that's what's being shown in the world as normal now. And that's my issue. I think Anthony Bourdain was an atheist, and so he didn't mind hooking up with Asia, knowing the satanic stuff on the, you know, do you know what I'm saying? I just think that you're kind of out there in the woods by yourself if you're not believing or having faith. Anyway, that's my belief.
Well,
What do you
Nostradamus
believe,
said,
Richard? I know you've got a lot. You've got spiritual belief, but are you agnostic?
when I was a little kid, to my grandparents, they asked me if I believed in God, and I claimed at the time to be an agnostic, which means I question it.
Mm.
No, God has intervened so often behind the scenes for me where things just magically work out. People that try to become enemies and file lawsuits and all this stuff, they just magically, almost effortlessly go away sometimes. It's shocking. Now, there's one other thing, though, to keep in mind what the U.S. government just did. And this is the latest esoteric card. I'm up to number 93 at the moment. Okay. Mm-hmm. This is our current head of the Department of Defense. And to make a long story bearable, on what date was that? September 27th, 2024, 40 days and 40 nights before our election coming up, counting both dates, the U.S. Department of Defense directed 5240.01, originating from the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security, headed by Melancy Harris, that's a girl, became effective on December 27, 2024. And what this directive says is that in certain times, now the U.S. military can assist law enforcement in police actions here on the continental United States homeland. And here's the best part. This directive says, totally against the law, that the military can now use lethal force against Americans. The American Army, let that sink in, can use lethal force now against we the people.
But you've been under martial law for a long time, and I don't think people are aware of that.
Yeah, and so basically the people who have been trained to kill, who are plotting to kill you, just made it legal for the people planning to kill you to kill you. So say the election goes haywire and one or both sides are pretty mad about it. And especially if they try to say that Cammie is the winner, give me a break. She doesn't talk to the press. She doesn't take public questions. She hides just like Biden hid. There is no way on earth that thing can win an election. Yeah. She didn't even win the nomination. They just took the old hook out like on the showbiz stage and pulled the fake Joey off. And now we got the fake Kamala on there. She's also imposter replaced, in my opinion. Well, here's the best part. In true Catch-22 fashion, we all remember that movie, beloved movie from the 1970s. While Department of Defense Directive 5240.01 allows the U.S. military to legally, lethally liquidate its own citizens, Section L states, quote, no Department of Defense civilian employee or member of the armed forces will engage in or conspire to engage in assassination. What the hell's the difference?
Right.
Why does anybody think that they can publish this and that it's lawful and legal? You know, I could publish something and say, I'm king of the world now. And all of you have to obey me and do what I say, or I can use lethal force against all of you. They would put me away.
It's a real travesty. All of these things, when we start to uncover what it is that they're legalizing now. There was another thing that they passed in the Senate a couple of months ago. I believe I heard on Ninjas Are Butterflies. So I don't know if it's true or not. That they passed a law that any sitting president is not allowed to be investigated or have their records, so no crimes that they may have committed in the past are allowed to be investigated.
Well, isn't that special?
Some kind of law, isn't that? Yeah. So I felt that they did that. They passed that because they probably already had it planned that Miss Kamala was going to get. This was before. This was passed before Biden had to step down, by the way. And, you know, these people that have these crimes in their background that are very questionable, apparently, if you're a sitting president, that nobody is allowed to investigate it. I don't know if that's the exact wording of what was passed, but apparently that was passed.
Well, that could be crumpled up and thrown in the round file
Gisela says that she remembers
the United States Department of Defense was formed on September 18th, 1947, when the sun was at 25 degrees in Virgo. And this is why the 28th United States Secretary of Defense, Lloyd James Austin, was selected to oversee the U.S. military killing its own citizens. He was born on August 8th, 1953, when his natal Lilith was at 25 degrees in Virgo, occulting the natal sun of the U.S. Department of Defense and infusing it with malevolent dark energy. That's how he got the gig.
Wow. Because
Lilith in is known in ancient Hebrew texts, folk tales, Lilith is the first witch, the first wife of Adam, dark hair, and she left Adam supposedly because she would not lay beneath him, and she thought that she was equal. This is the lore, you know. And so Lilith is not only the first witch, she's known as the mother of all demons. So anyone that's a practicing witchcraft, and you are worshiping Lilith as the first witch, no matter what you do. And the sigil for Lilith, I can show it to you later if I can find it, looks exactly like Saturn. It's in a circle. It's a sigil. It's a magical symbol. Symbols are worth 1,000 words, but a sigil is a magical symbol. So the black sun, Saturn, and Lilith in iconography are exactly the same practically. Now, I'll show you one last thing on this picture. This has two of the other people involved who are standing by the respective flags of their countries. And if you notice, look at the US flag and look at the burnt out light. There are 8 lights representing the 8 high ritual days in the calendar year, the major festivals, but the light that's right by the US flag is burnt out. That's not an accident. These things are all carefully posed. And these are two of the other people. Melancy Harris, she specialized in irregular warfare and counterterrorism. And she is shown next to Custy Psalm. That's a heck of a name, Custy Psalm. There's got to be a joke in there somewhere. And he is the permanent secretary of the Estonian Ministry of Defense. And the octagram, that's the star at their feet. See the star at their feet, the 8-pointed star? That's all the high ritual days right there. And then you have the burnt out light up there. Now, here's my point. What this shows, how you read this picture is you say to yourself, looky, looky, looky. They're going to have United Nations troops from Estonia and God knows where else, who shouldn't even be allowed to be here. They're going to have them dressed as U.S. troops to make it easier to kill Americans. And that's what this is all about. They're getting ready to supposedly legally murder we the people if things start getting out of hand, you know, with the protests and all that.
I just want to say to everybody, I know a lot of this information might make you feel as though we're helpless and there's nothing that you can do. Knowing that these people are doing these rituals, that everything is ritualized in this satanic realm, this fallen realm, I want you to understand just how powerful prayer is, okay? And when you get together as a group and pray, it really does counteract what witchcraft does. And we have a lot of ex-witches coming out and saying that they cannot penetrate people, groups that are praying, that there is a shield around these people. No gold light of bubbles and blah, 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 and imagining a gold light of bubble around you is going to help as much as, because, you know, people that have the gold bubble of light around them are still prey to these entities that are operating this realm. But when you actually pray together to God in the name of Jesus, and I don't care if you don't believe me, I promise you, you will be protected. And when you call out his name, he, you know, the witchcraft and these entities disappear. They flee. Same works for the any entity, alien type beings, that when people have had abduction experiences, when they call out the name, these entities disappear and the whole scene disappears. So I just want you to understand that there is a way through all of this darkness that is coming. So as you're coming up to this election, knowing what Richard's teaching us, knowing that he's showing us that there's this very dark, insidious, deep, very orchestrated, sort of perfected, almost OCD type organization going on in operating things the way they are. These, I just want you to know that there is a way around this as you're coming up to this election, because, and the reason why we're talking about the election and the results, etc., and the political arena is because this affects the entire world at the moment.
Yes.
Because Australia is under the corporation of the US. Is that correct? I think so.
I don't know, but I really dig Australia. I think we should
We're part of the
merge.
corporation. Yeah, we're part of the corporation. Australia is like an Americanized England. That's how I see it, because we're kind of in between. We kind of have this Americanized. We have a lot of British traditions, but it's like Canada. We're like Canada,
right?
Which is not a great thing. We're slowly becoming a communist country.
Hey, welcome to the club.
Yeah. We had some questions. Is it okay if I sort of change direction because there's some questions here? Yeah,
let me just say one quick little thing about the final thing about this Custy Psalm person.
Yeah.
Okay, he was born on April 17th, 1984. When he was born on that date, Lilith, the first witch and the mother of all demons, was located at 14 degrees in Pisces. And when Department of Defense Directive 5240.01 came into force on September 27, 2024, Saturn, the black sun, was located at 14 degrees in Pisces retrograde, occulting the natal Lilith of Custy Psalm. So these people are maneuvered into positions because of whose blood's in them and when they're born. But it's not hopeless. All of this sounds like really dire and hopeless, and we've got no chance. We've got the MVP. Mm-hmm. We got God. God's got this. Relax. This is all part of the show. If there wasn't evil, people wouldn't know how to behave good.
That's right.
We just have to get a hold on it. And speaking of more evil, I know you want to get to some more questions, but this is Esoteric card number 91. This is like the most heartbreaking for me. That is the true face of hurricane horror. It's not the pretty Doppler graphics and, the remotes where people are out there reporting and the wind's blowing and all that. That is the true face of a hurricane. True faces. The little girl and her little puppy. Maybe her parents are gone. You know what I mean? This is the worst day in her life. And this pisses me off. United States patent application. U.S. patent number 2003/0085296A1. It's weather witchcraft. It shows how they're using sound to direct the hurricanes to go here or to go there. And that's why it hit all the Trump strongholds along the East Coast and in Florida and North Carolina, South Carolina, all that. They've been directing the weather for a long time. And that's the patent number. It even shows you what they do. They're using high decibel sound waves. And it's like how they're using they're called hell weapons, like at Lahaina, They're space-based lasers. They're called hell weapons, high energy lasers. Hell. Catchy name. How did they come up with that, I guess they couldn't figure out how to make it Satan, or Lucifer.
Absolutely.
It's just getting ridiculous.
It is. And that's all the red states, right?
Yeah. And so this weather witchcrafting was even patented by Andrew Wax Mansky that's a CIA cutout, okay? Because currently the patent is not held by anyone. They let it lapse, which means the CIA has it, or you know, them and MI6 maybe. Who else knows? You know.
Yeah, that's a horrible thing. And I think that I'm noticing that a lot of people that were asleep and were not awake to this are starting to recognize that this is true, that this weather manipulation is possible. And
it's too many coincidences for it not to be
right.
pre-planned. And don't expect the Federal Emergency Management Agency to save you either, because FEMA, believe it or not, was founded on April 1st, 1979, which is April Fool's Day.
First day of the year, hey?
Yeah, that's no accident. They're there to look like they're helping while they're stealing people's blind and doing God knows what.
Okay, Richard, before you say anything else, I did put up in the chat Richard's Buy Me a Coffee link. If you want to donate to Richard, please do send him something. Send him something. I don't know how Buy Me a Coffee works.
Is there a way to thank people for that? Because I've had a few come in and I've tried to thank them, but it doesn't go through. And it's like, they're sending their hard-earned funds, and I want to thank them, and I try to Gmail them, but it doesn't go to them.
Oh, it doesn't go to them? Maybe. I'm not really sure how it works. I don't have Buy Me a Coffee. There must be a way. They must have their email address. It must go through to them.
Yeah, I'll have to look into it more.
Yeah.
But so thank you, all of you that have done it. I'm not worthy of...
I know Don Parkinson did. I know he told me that. That was one of my Patreon members. So Buy Me a Coffee, send that to Richard. And also I'm going to give Richard the link for the book that I've compiled for you together. There's got to be a way. I think my husband was saying that we can try and get publish the book in some way on Amazon or something to that effect. And it's, there's publishers out there that you can do, and then people can get either a digital copy or a real thing. Oh, sounded like a big eagle going past. What was that?
I think that's one of those pterodactyls. It's coming to sit on the arch. Yeah, remember that?
A pterodactyl. Yeah. Okay, so there's some good questions here, and I just want to go back. Antonina asked a couple of times. Sorry, Antonina, I did see it, but I wanted to say something about that. So Antonina said, I came in when you were talking number 777, which is my favorite number, but what is a sequence that is not satanic and pro-peace? Well, the thing is, all of the numbers are good. It's just that these evil ones commandeered them. And I know for a fact that 7 was actually the number of Jesus. So it is actually a good number. There's nothing wrong with 7, and it's repeated many times, when Jesus was asked whether or not should we forgive our brothers, and he says not just 7 times but 7 times 70. He says something like that. So this is, I would say that they're taking that number and then twisting it and inverting it for their own.
Didn't Jesus speak 7 times on the cross or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. So they're always mocking him. They mock him with the 33 because he died when he was 33. They mock him with all sorts of stuff. Yeah. And that's why my theory about he had reigned on the earth already and came back is why they're doing what they're doing, why they hate him so much, why they're pummeling it into our brain that he's not the good one. Don't look there, look over here, kind of thing. So that's why I think why this intention to constantly cover him up. He's not allowed to be spoken of in Hollywood. You can't say the J word in Hollywood. You can't, contracts. There's actors and singers coming forward saying that in their contract, they are not allowed to say the name of Jesus. They're not allowed to say his name.
Wow, I didn't know that. Thank you for that.
Oh, yeah. Look it up, man. Yep. There's a lot of people coming through because, and all those ones who go, I like to thank God. Yeah, who's God? Which God? Their God, Lucifer. That's who they're talking about. So I just want you to understand that even if you don't like religion, and a lot of people have been hurt by church, And I don't like the concept of that. And I get it. I don't go to church because of that. You know, there's so many people not teaching the right thing. And, but you do need that kind of camaraderie, that kind of fellowship. And I think that that's important. But what I want to say is that I just want you to ask yourself, why do you think all of this stuff that Richard's revealing is happening? Because we've got an opposing force here working, and
Yes.
they really are mocking Jesus Christ. He is real. He's not fake. He's not a fake entity. He's not of fake importance. They are so against him because he is so powerful, because he takes down every single thing that they're working for. So that's why prayers work, I think. I can't stop talking about him because, he is the savior of our planet, of our earth.
Well, if so many of these evil Satanists go berserk at the mention of Jesus's name or whatever, it really makes you, wonder, how could it not be real? You know what I mean?
Of course. So let's go back to that question again. Sorry about that, Antonina. 777. She's saying, so in your studies, and you study the occult and archaeocultology is what it's called, do you ever see the inverse? Do you ever study the good side of these things, or does the good not operate with these kinds of meticulous OCD numbers? And
the good does operate, but it's not a slave to the numbers like the evil is.
Yeah.
And the whole thing about pi and phi being there in the capital letters groupings of the alphabet, we went through that. I consider that good. And then the whole thing about being able to measure the mass of your soul by taking your temperature and dividing that by your body weight converted from pounds into grams. And you'll see that basically for every 5 pounds, your soul has a mass equal to 0.22, 1/5.
My soul is really heavy. It's gotta be. I got a big soul. Yeah, go on.
I don't see why you wouldn't, but that would mean like I mean, it's remarkable. Again, it's that temperature thing. A lot of people overlook the importance of the whole temperature in these things, because I had a dog die in my lap one time, one of my boxers, and immediately when it died, it started getting cold right away. You could tell it was lifeless. You could almost feel that he got lighter, which I know is crazy because it's so minuscule. But there have been studies where people have been hooked up on deathbeds in hospices, and they weigh them carefully to the gram, and then they weigh them again when they die and the soul has departed, and it's just a teeny bit less. It's like the tail wagging the dog. We're mostly energy, but people judge us by how we look and act and are, but that's the least important thing. Human nature, I guess.
That is fascinating. Sorry, answering questions in the chat. So, I'm sorry, everyone, if I've ever interrupted Richard. I was, sometimes when I'm trying to
no, please interrupt me. I go on too long.
No, before, because sometimes you're about to say something and then I'm trying to keep following the thought that we were talking about. So sorry if that sounds like I've interrupted. I'm going to go back and have a look at some of these questions. There was something. So about the good, she was saying, is there some peaceful numbers, etc. Antonina, I would say that you don't need to follow the numbers. This is what I wanted to say. You don't need to follow the numbers. You find peace with God. We already talk about this all the time, Antonina. You don't need these numbers or rituals, or we don't need that. That's the whole point, is you don't need this fluffy stuff. You don't need candles and rituals and sayings and all of that. You don't need any of that. That's why they do what they do. That's why they're so OCD, and they have to try to control the reality that we live in and God's creation, and they have to do this stuff because they're so fearful of losing control. There was something about that. Richard, did you know that in the Bible that there's a suggestion that the stars are actually angels? And I'm just wondering if so at Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, there seems to be some kind of carvings of some kind, and people are suggesting that these are from the fallen angels, the Watchers. And if I'm correct, that the Watchers who then rebelled against God, the Watchers are the ones that are these demigods that everybody started worshiping when they were the principalities, they were the rulers on earth. They were watching us and looking after us. They were the giant, beings that everybody seemed to be worshiping in these ancient writings, etc. They taught the people things like witchcraft and these rituals that you're talking about. So I'm wondering if the stars and the mapping of the stars is also part of this. And perhaps this is where they get this key to unlock God's creation, because these angels they were created before creation. So they were created first before creation as the heavenly host. And so they seem to have these very ancient understandings and of how the world operates, is what I'm trying to say. So if these people that are in these covens are worshipping these entities that we would call the fallen angels, they're trying to tap into these secrets through the blood, through the ritual, through the sacrifice, through the numbers, through the astrology. And that seems to be how you're decoding this and uncovering this. Have you ever had, with all the information that you receive, have you ever had any threats or anything happen in your life?
Well, let me tell you about it. This year, it was January 26th in the Gregorian calendar. And whoever did this, I think it was CIA, but, whatever. They tried to decapitate, well, they did decapitate my statue of Romulus. You want me to show it to you? He's out here on the porch. You want me to give you a quick tour of the porch?
Yeah, Casa del Balducci.
Yeah.
Is that how you call it?
Well, it has
300. We have 303 people watching. Everybody share it on your platform so we
Yay!
can have 333 people watching.
Yeah, now we need 30 more. Okay,
and
this
everyone,
is
everyone. Oh, let's have a look. Everyone who's on my newsletter, I had a massive technical issue with getting my newsletter out yesterday, so there would have been a lot more people on today. I'm going to have to put the newsletter out after the fact. Sorry about that. A big technical issue.
Oh, that's all right.
So why have you got Romulus there?
Well, he was the founder of Rome, according to the mythology. They were twins, and Romulus killed his brother, Remus, and that's why the city of Rome is named Rome, named after a killer. Isn't that nice? That's nice how they do that. Well, they cut his head off. Can you see the mark? I glued it back with a glue gun. So I don't know if you can see it.
Almost. Keep going.
Up or down?
Oh, there we go. Yep. Is it like a malachite or something? What do you got around his green beads?
Mardi Gras beads.
Mardi Gras beads.
Yeah. The reason they picked whoever did that, here's some more of the patio. My favorite is the roof. Can you see that, or is that too dark?
Yeah, I can see the roof. Oh, there we go. Yep, I can see these little people.
Yeah, that's kind of my little editorial statement about war. Okay. The first innocent person you kill is yourself when you kill another person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my little editorial comment.
I was just going to say that Rome in Italian, Roma is more backwards. It's love backwards. So have a think about that.
Very good. Well, the thing is, okay,
the inversion is what I'm trying to say.
They decapitated Romulus, my statue, on the porch around between 3 and 4 a.m. on the 26th of January, because according to Wikipedia, they thought that was the date of Maxwell Knight's death, but he didn't. He actually died on the 24th, but the Wikipedia says it's the 27th. So the person that did it thought the 26th here, because I talk about this all the time. In London, it's the next day or whatever, 6 hours difference. But even that was off. They messed that up. So they tried to terrify me by waking up and seeing the decapitated statue on Maxwell Knight's, supposedly the day he died, because that's what happened to James Paul McCartney. He was decapitated with the hammer.
Explain who Maxwell Knight is again. That's the guy.
His full name is Charles Henry Maxwell Knight.
Yeah.
Charles Henry Maxwell Knight. He had his own office at MI5, Military Intelligence 5. MI5 operates in Great Britain, and MI6 operates in the rest of the world. So he had his own office, and he handled special projects going all the way back to World War II, when he would beat people over the head with a wrench,
Maxwell's hammer,
to break up a strike or whatever. So he was known for using poisons and obviously the hammer to kill Beatle James Paul McCartney. And he actually died, counting from Paul McCartney's death to when he got dead was exactly 500 days. And it's mentioned on page 15 of the Memoirs of Billy Shears. Thomas E. Harriet talks about how the Beatles manager, Brian Epstein, showed the autopsy photo to John Lennon to finally convince him that Paul was dead. And John Lennon's eyes bugged out, it says, and he started laughing maniacally. He went insane, basically. And so that's what they were trying to create, that effect of, because of my work, somebody's going to come and, hammer me to the head. Well, go ahead. Do your chance. I'm Italian. If you think you can get away with it, go ahead. I'm not bragging. I'm just, it doesn't scare me. When God is on your side and you're on God's side, you really don't have anything to worry about except dying. They can only torture you and kill you for so long.
Yeah, we shouldn't be afraid of those who can kill the physical body, should we? So I don't know. Somebody wrote, Richard, show us how your Stargate works. I think that was a typo. Stargate. Do you have a Stargate, Richard?
I don't know about Stargate. I know it's a movie from MGM with Kurt Russell.
Right. It's a great movie, isn't it?
I might have to watch it again because my cousin Jimmy, he loves that movie. And I saw it so long ago, I can't hardly remember it.
It's got a lot of secrets that are happening in the real world, in secret services, etc. I think that's a real thing. So there was something nobody ended up coming on to chat. We're coming up to 2 hours almost. And there was something that I missed. I'm just having a look, Richard. Sorry about that. Skipping through. It's funny when I said we've got 303 in the chat. As soon as I said 303, I'm not kidding. It dramatically dropped by 20 people. No kidding. I was like, oh, YouTube's hearing, and they're like, oh, we better knock those numbers down. All these people left the chat.
Maybe they didn't like the tour of the patio. Maybe that.
No, I don't think that's what it is. So yeah, look, there's some people saying, everybody's got a different opinion about this stuff. I personally wouldn't be doing what Richard's doing. I'm not going to sit there and investigate the numbers and do the gematria and do the astrology, etc. But this is Richard's line of work, and you know, I guess you know, for some people they can't touch that stuff. They can't, you know, do anything like that because it's against their belief systems, and it's you know, it can be seen as an idolatry type thing if you're putting power in the numbers, or if you're putting power in the decoding, etc., over God's power. I don't think Richard's doing that. I don't think he's making it an idol. Yeah, somebody just said Maxwell Silverhammer. Hi from England. Hello, everybody. Somebody said, are the Elohim good or bad? Well, Elohim just means spiritual being, so it can be both. So some of the Elohim, they were all originally good, and then some of them rebelled and fell. So that's why some of them are bad. So you can't use that. It's a descriptor. It's like saying, are all people with black hair bad? You know, it's a descriptor. That's what it is. Okay, so it's not. Yeah, didn't see any Zoom link to join in. That's because I haven't shared it, Antonina. So I asked everybody if anybody wanted to join, and nobody responded, so I didn't share it yet. We don't want to make this too long, but let's see if I can get meeting information, copy link. I'll put it in the chat. Let's see if anyone is, Karen's going to bed. A lot of the people from the UK are going to bed because it's 11 p.m. almost there now. All right, Karen says, right, I'm out of here being awake for 20 hours. Richard, you are amazing. It's a big Scottish hug from coming your way. Love you both. Amazing chat, JC. Good night, and God bless everybody. Excellent. Thanks, Karen. Thank you for being there. Angela says, is the Bible and astronomy connected, or is this a new age concept? Well, some say that there is a astronomy, yes. Astrology, some people are opposing that and saying no. Other people say there is astrology in the Bible. What do you think? Richard, have you studied the Bible? Somebody else asked that. If you ever studied actually, and please just beware, don't sit there and say it's false and blah, 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 because you're talking to someone who believes in it. But I've got mine here. I've got, I know what you have to say about this version. This is the King James.
Yeah.
King
Who
James
shares
version.
your birthday? And by the way, your birthday and his is on the 169th day of the year. That's the number 13 squared, by the way. So,
wow. I was born on the 169th day of the year, 13th squared. Wow. God knew what he was doing.
You want to hear something weird about my birthday?
Go on.
From my birthday, after my birthday, there are 33 days. November 28th.
Okay.
There are 33 days left in the year after that till New Year's the next year. And here's the kicker. On leap years, when the extra day is added, my birthday falls on the 333rd day of the year. Ta-da!
Ta-da! Wow.
Yeah. My area code is Pi 314. That's the area code here.
Do you think that if we deduce all of these, like anything, if you looked for anything in anything, you would find the information in that? Do you think that that's how it works, or is this very specific?
It's just pattern recognition. Recognition. And I have not studied the Bible. I probably should.
I think you should.
Yeah, I
with an open mind. You've got to.
But I was an altar boy. Does that count?
Yeah. No, it doesn't. Catholicism doesn't count. So look, there are, if you actually, I'll give you the name of someone to look into and listen to his debates and stuff. He's a good apologist. And I think that if you could follow some of the stuff that he says, it would really make you at least suspend your disbelief when you actually know the facts. And that's Cliff Connectley. He's an American apologist, Christian apologist, and he really does explain it very, very well. So I think that it is one of the most popular books in the whole world, the number one bestseller list. I think that if you get a good translation, I think on there you go. Can you see that behind me? There, there.
You know, one thing about the Old
That there.
Testament,
That's the
especially
English Standard Version. So if you get that version, that's a really good
when you
translation from
have a
original
Bible,
scripts.
in the passages, sometimes there'll be a little dagger at the end of a phrase or something. Sometimes it's red and sometimes it's black.
Yeah.
It's an obelisk, actually. But
Okay.
what that is saying is that either there is a mistranslation of a word in that line, or it's been deliberately changed.
No.
So
okay.
it's almost, yeah.
I want to say this to you. At this stage of the game, in this, with all the technology we've got, with all the access to all of the things on the earth, and all of the access to original documents and original translations, and the I think something like the original manuscripts, the copies that were made back in the first century of the original testimonies of the letters, these raw tests in the New Testament, amount to 3.5 Empire State Buildings high. That is how many original documents we have.
Wow.
There is no mistranslation. There is no anything that's been altered has to do with when they copied it. There might have been a little error, because they would have to write the whole manuscript again if they're copying it. Okay, so there's no errors. We've got linguists all over the world who know ancient Greek, who know Hebrew, who know the translations and the correct information and the context in which you can translate that in. There is so many different translations, and some of the most accurate ones are, for example, the English Standard Version is one of the most accurate, closer to the original manuscripts, more so than the King James and the New King James Bible. The King James Bible is still an accurate translation. I want you to understand that we know Queen Elizabeth and her family were evil and did evil things, but they also did good things on the surface, right? And so translating a Bible into English and having that done is still an act of good. Okay, it doesn't mean that it's automatically corrupted because he was not a good guy. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I just want you to just think about that, because perpetuating these things is playing into the hands of these satanic rulers. And I just think that if you understood the truth, which is what I did, when God hit me up and said, hey, the Holy Spirit hit me, I was not looking for it. So I was really still in that conspiracy mindset. I had to go and study and look to see. I had to have the evidence before I had the faith. Okay. And that's where faith comes from. It comes from evidence. And once you have the Holy Spirit within you, then you will understand it. So you ask, you pray, and that's when you study it. I just find that these people out there saying, I read the Bible 5 times or 30 times or whatever, and I don't see, because you don't have the Holy Spirit within you and you're not looking at it from a point of view of understanding and truth. That's what I believe anyway. I'm going to have to sit there and shut my mouth now, but I had to have a bit of a rant about that. So yeah, I just wanted you to have a look at that and think about it. There is a lot in there. There's a lot of information in there, that the Old and the New Testament. So the New Testament is the Gospels. It's Jesus's life and what happened. So it's a continuation of the Old Testament. The Old Testament is what Jesus taught. He used the Septuagint, which was the ancient Greek translation of the Old Testament. He spoke in Aramaic. So he had, Greek and Aramaic. They all spoke that. Didn't speak and Hebrew, sorry, and he also obviously they could read in their old language, but that was the language of the land at the time, just like English is for us. It's getting dark there, Richard.
Is it? You want me to turn a light on?
No, you're good. You're good. We'll wrap up soon. You're getting twilight. You're getting into the twilight age, time of twilight. When does the sun set there?
I think a little bit after 6 o'clock, like maybe
Okay, real
6:05.
soon. Yeah. This is why I wanted to start earlier for you.
Yeah, I
So
didn't
there
know you
was
were
no
taking
books
international
taken out,
time
mate.
zones into it. I was trying to give you
Yeah,
an
I have
extra
to.
hour to sleep.
No, I had to accommodate everybody. There was no books taken out. So who took the books out? No, there wasn't books taken out. Okay. And if you're talking about the Apocrypha, that was some of the books that Jesus was preaching with in the early days. And that's in some of the Bible. So the Catholic and the Orthodox Bible would have the Apocrypha, but they weren't taken out. These you've got to imagine these were different letters that were brought together in the first century. The evidence, the testimonials, the stories, etc. That they were put together in the New Testament. The Old Testament had existed for 2,000-3,000 years, so nothing was taken out. That's just a myth that these Luciferians want you to believe in. Okay, Richard, what have you got for me? Is that, look, I put in the chat the link for the Zoom link, but I think we need to wrap up soon. Nobody's popping on, and if no one's going to pop on, we'll wrap up soon. Is there something that you wanted to say? Sorry about my rant. I just had to clear up some stuff, but
Well,
is there something really fascinating that you can leave us with, more incredible knowledge in that little noggin of yours?
well, there probably is, but I can't think of what it is at the moment. I'll think about it,
Okay.
5 minutes after we're done. But
Okay, so what's your take? What do you think is going to happen 5th of November this
I
year?
think we're
Have you done
really
some
going to
numbers on there?
finally understand the saying, remember the 5th of November from that movie.
Yeah. Do
Um,
you think that there's going to be a big fire? It's bonfire night,
I
isn't it?
It could go one of two ways, I think. This is just gut level thinking here. It's not based on anything. One, they're not going to have a result in a bunch of places, which is illegal. Two, they're going to hem and haw and then say, yeah, Cammy won. Yay, Cammy won, which is a mathematical impossibility unless they're stuffing the ballots and, using all the rig systems in the world. And the enemy media won't ever cover that. So it's going to be really hairy, because now the Department of Defense can legally kill Americans if they protest too much,
Wow.
according to their own document. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. And here's the kicker. Okay, let's just suppose Donald Trump, they say he won. Okay, they come out on election day and say he won. Well, guess who's in the way? Kamala Harris, as the vice president, has to certify the election, like Pence didn't do, or like Pence did when he shouldn't have. Cammy's in the same position now. The certification goes through her, and she said Donald Trump's Hitler. You think she's going to certify Hitler?
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm fascinated too. It's
But
ticking
legally,
down.
she would have to, right?
Well, we'll see where the Masonic loyalty lies, where the satanic loyalty lies, and where truth and purity and goodness and the white hats, or whatever you want to call the good forces, how they respond. It's a fascinating moment in time. Like I said a long time ago, and the first time we got together, Donald Trump is going to be remembered for 1,000 years,
Absolutely.
or I'm much mistaken.
Look, I just think it's the better of two evils, don't you think? And the thing is, he's.
It always is.
I just think that he is who he says he is, and that's the problem. That's the issue with why the other side is not so good. It's not a good one to go with, right? So
there's even imposter Donald Trumps going around. Because supposedly, I don't know this for a fact, it's just what I've heard, that the real Donald Trump is holed up in Mount Cheyenne, underneath the mountain. So they're sending the decoys to the trials and the assassination attempt and all that. Because you'll notice sometimes he looks really orange, and sometimes another one has this light blue, almost like mascara under his eyes.
But sometimes
and the hair changes. And the one guy has jowls.
I sometimes
and the other
look like
Trumps
death warmed
don't.
up. If you see several different photos of me, I look very different in every single one of them. And I can tell you, with my tiny little platform, I've had people accusing me of being replaced. So, and I can tell you, I'm the real person. I've never been replaced. So I don't know about this. I don't know about that. I do believe in body doubles. They've been used for a very long time. Stalin had something like 13 body doubles. They've all got body doubles, 100%. I agree. But I think talking things like, for example, on Joe Rogan, that was the real Donald. I think those sorts of things where there's this intensive, he has to talk for a long time. That has to be the real one, right? So yeah, look at him. Wow. They didn't quite get it right.
That's JFK's body double, one of them. And it makes you wonder which one got his head blown off in Dallas.
Yeah, amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And let's see if I can find another one here. Oh, you'll love this. This is the good one to end on. Guess who posed for the Lee Harvey Oswald faked picture where they put his head, at the chin line on another person's body to make him look guilty? Guess who it was?
Who? This guy?
It was Joe Biden.
No shit. Nah. Can't be. Different eyebrows. That's young Joe Biden. Let me just
The eyebrows are different because from here,
put it back up again.
From the chin up is Oswald. From the just before the chin down is Joe Biden, and the arms and the, But that's the photo they used to frame Oswald and make him look.
I get it. You're saying that the body,
The chins. Look at the chins. It's the Joe Biden chin, but right above the chin is the seam where they cropped the other head in there. And the shadows don't even match. The shadow under the nose doesn't match the shadows on the ground. I don't know if you can tell in this image, but yeah, it's different. And then here's Joey. You got two different signatures, and you got two different guys.
Totally. He got an
The real Joe Biden is dead. He was put to sleep.
He has to.
So this is all an act. Yeah.
Yeah. What about Kamala and her weird neck?
Yeah. Just for laughs. Well.
Getting so dark there, man.
We know that.
Yeah, we know that. Two different guys.
That's an imposter. Yeah. And
they always have these lookalike competitions in these when the new band gets together.
And you've probably seen this one.
Yeah.
That's Big Mike.
There's Big Mike and
Barack.
Can you believe that? How did the left not? Did they think that's fake? Do they see these pictures? What do they think? How can
I don't think the left thinks at all. I don't think they just follow orders, or they're told their beliefs through the media,
Yeah.
But that's the problem. We're the thinkers, and look at all the trouble we run into. I'll be right back.
Hey Crystal, how you going in the chat? Yeah, you'll have to catch up later. We have been going for 2 hours, and just put it on speaker view. We've been going for 2 hours now, and we are wrapping up. I got up really bright and early on a Sunday morning here. Jim Humphrey says, JC, do you really believe a man of his age can be in 4 cities day after day after day? Trump has at least 4 doubles. No, I said that. He's got doubles for sure. Of course he does. I just don't think he's cloned, and I think that there's the main Trump, and then there's guys that are uh replacing him. Hang on a second. Richard's showing a picture. Yeah. Did you see that, guys? I'll put it up again. Wait a second. Come back, Richard. You're really quiet, so you're not appearing on screen. Show it back again. Kamala under Trump, Kamala under Harris. Well, there's natural aging.
And unnatural aging.
And unnatural aging. Obama really aged in his 4 years in office, right?
Well, that's a different guy too, because the real Obama got a bullet to the back of the head. So at a place we're not supposed to talk about.
Yeah, wow. Oh yeah, the G word. So is that the place where the other one went? Yeah, okay. I get it. I understand why you said we couldn't talk about it. Okay, hello from England. Hello everybody. We've been on for 2 hours and 7 minutes. I think unless Richard has anything more left to say, I did put the link for the Zoom link in the chat, but nobody's popped on, and that's okay. We're probably going to wrap it up now. I hope everybody enjoys their Sunday, and I hope everybody enjoys their Saturday night over there in the US. Please look after yourselves. Richard, have you got any other things you want to talk about, or you want to wrap up? Let me know.
No, I think we've punished the viewers enough with my presence, and we should probably wrap it up. I mean, there's so much to talk about. There's just so much more. But, for another day.
Yeah, for another day, for sure.
Guys, if we live that long.
I'll be making more videos coming up. I know there's a lot going on. People, I steered clear of the talk about political stuff for a couple of years, but this is going to impact everyone. But I'm still going to talk about how do we build this community and look after one another. How do we decode and unravel ways to look after our health? How do we, let's use our minds, our body, our soul to get through this war on us, to the war on God's creations. I think that whatever happens after the 5th of November, I just want you to understand that it's all meant to be that way, and that we can get through it. I think it's going to show us a better version of ourselves. I really do think so. I think it's going to show us a better version of ourselves. And human beings, we're made for big things, and sometimes we have to go through this real dark mess to get through to the light. They're going to make it hard for us. That's what I think. I think they're going to try and make it hard for us, but please don't despair.
Well, nothing worthwhile is easy, whether you're trying to win a baseball championship or do anything. And, that's the challenge of it. But it's like Charlton Heston said in Soylent Green to Edward G. Robinson, don't take it so big, Saul. We're on the winning team. It's going to be glorious. And this measures us. It measures all of us. How do each of us respond to these terrible things going on? But there's also wonderful things. And, good and evil are battling it out like they always do. And get ready to come on the bandwagon for the big win at the end. We got this. This is easy peasy. All we have to do is not go insane. And that's part of what Tavistock and the Media have tried to do. They've literally made societies psychotic. It's all by design.
So much mental illness going on out there, especially on the left. Okay, everybody. Link for Richard's Buy Me a Coffee, I'll put in the description below. Also, I'll get this sorted very soon, the Esoteric cut. I think Richard said there was something I had to edit. That's why I haven't got that up. So there will be a link. People in my Patreon, I'll let you access that link for free, but please do offer Richard some donations for that. But if you're not in my Patreon, I'll give the link to Richard, and it'll be up to him if you want to access his ebook. It's over 150 pages, and he's got a lot of information in there. So please support him. Thank you, Richard, my friend.
Thank you, JC Kay, my super friend.
I survived without having to go to the toilet.
My guiding light.
I kept saying to you, I'm going to need to go to the toilet, but I survived. Great, everybody. Just make sure you subscribe to this channel and click the bell notification so that you get every single notification. And we will see you soon. I love you all.
Thank you, JC. I love you, everybody. Keep looking for the truth because it's out there.
I love you. Bye.
Nighty-night. Love you, JC. Always have, always will.
Okay, I've ended the live stream.